All right, so in our last explainer, we talked about how real peace isn't about running away from the world. It's about finding that calm while you're in the middle of it all. But that brings up a huge question. If you actually get that inner peace, how does it change the way you see everyone and everything around you? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. So, let's say you do it. You find that inner steadiness, that lack of internal friction. What happens then? How does that actually shift your perspective on other people? I mean, how do you deal with success and failure? Or how do you look at your best friend versus a total stranger? The Bhagavad Gita gives us this really powerful answer, and it's a concept called equality of vision. And trust me, if we can really wrap our minds around this one idea, it is the key to understanding how inner peace actually shows up in our daily lives. Okay, but before we jump into what equality of vision is, we've got to talk about what it is not. This is one of those concepts that gets misunderstood all the time, so let's just clear the air right from the get-go. You see, the most common trap is thinking this means we should just pretend everyone is exactly the same, that all our differences are just some kind of illusion. But that's not what the Gita is saying at all. It's not about what you see, it's about how you see it. It's about looking at the world through an internal lens that's stable and clear, one that isn't smudged by all our usual mental filters. And this is where the Gita gets so practical. This isn't some fluffy pie-in-the-sky idea. It totally gets that people have different skills, different jobs, and different behaviors. This vision is not about ignoring reality or, letting people off the hook for what they do. So here it is. This is the core definition. Equality of vision is freedom from the psychological drama that our own minds create around all those differences. You still see the differences, loud and clear, but you're free from the internal chaos they usually kick up. So what does that actually look like? Well, it means you can have a conversation with a brilliant academic, a construction worker, your best friend, or even someone you totally disagree with. And you can do it all with the same inner calm. And why? Because you've stopped sizing people up based on their job title or their social status or what they can do for you. So why is this such a huge deal? Why is it a game changer? Because it helps us escape what is probably the single biggest source of our own mental stress, the comparison trap. I mean, this is the soundtrack playing in the back of an agitated mind, isn't it? That constant chatter, ranking ourselves against everyone else. Oh, I'm better than them. Oh, I'm not as good as them. This one little thought pattern, it's the seed for so much inner and outer conflict. And you've seen this toxic cycle in action, right? First, our mind just automatically compares and ranks. Then, the ego jumps in. It either puffs up with pride or it completely deflates with insecurity. And that leads straight to feelings like resentment or anxiety, and boom, just like that, our inner peace is gone. Equality of vision is the circuit breaker. It cuts the power to that whole mechanism. When your sense of who you are is no longer tied to where you rank in some imaginary competition, the whole system just grinds to a halt. The mind can finally relax. You can still have respect, you can still make smart choices, but that constant inner agitation, it just dissolves. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, but what does it actually look like in our day-to-day lives? At work, in our relationships, or when we get into an argument? Let's make this really practical. Just think about it in a professional setting. With this kind of mindset, when someone gives you praise, your ego doesn't just inflate like a balloon. You can actually just take it in clearly. When you face criticism, you don't crumble. You can actually learn from it. And if you're leading a team, you can do it without that weird need to feel superior. That's what clarity looks like in the real world. And the results of this shift are they're profound. This approach builds way deeper trust with the people around you. It gives you this incredible emotional stability. Your ethics become solid because they're not swayed by who you're dealing with. You can disagree with someone, even passionately, without turning them into a monster in your head. And you can help others without completely erasing yourself in the process. And this really is the ultimate point. The peace that you find inside yourself doesn't just stay locked up in there. It becomes relational. It starts to radiate outward, and it can completely change how you interact with absolutely everyone. What's so cool is how the Gita talks about this. It's not another rule you have to follow or something you have to force yourself to do. This kind of vision is a natural side effect of gaining real inner clarity. As you get less attached to outcomes, as your ego loosens its death grip, your mind just stops ranking people. You don't have to practice equality. You simply outgrow the need to compare. So let's wrap this up by making it personal. This isn't about hitting some perfect enlightened state by tomorrow morning. The whole journey starts with one small step. So the real question for you is, what is one comparison? It could be big, it could be tiny, that you can consciously decide to let go of right now, today.